I like the peanut gallery, though, because Joe Rogan, right? He got a peanut gallery.
Yeah, a little bit.
They're fucking talking to the guy behind the camera and the computer, bro. Yo, pull it up, get it on the fucking thing.
No, that's what we need, like a TV screen.
Yep. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of The Mindful Space. I'm your host, Tyler. This week, Johnny decided to show up. I guess he's not traveling. And, we got our good producer here, Alex. And we're gonna chop it up a little bit for you today. So Johnny is speaking at a ball? A governor's ball, you called it? What'd you call it?
The Marine Corps Ball.
Okay, the Marine Corps Ball.
Yeah, Marine Corps Ball.
That's an honor, though, right? It has to be.
Yeah, it's a huge honor.
Tell us about it.
It's the yearly birthday celebration.
Okay.
Of the ball, so.
Oh, so for like the birthday of the Marines.
Yeah.
You guys just celebrated like 100 or something, right? Or 101?
249, my guy.
49.
249.
Shit.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah. It's a year before the Jesus, I was gonna say insurrection. Fuck. Talk about I don't know, why can't I think of the word, like when before we seceded from England.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I guess it was an insurrection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A real insurrection.
Yeah, it's a real one.
But anyway, 1775. Yeah. 1776 is our inaugural birthday.
So this is the annual ball.
It is, yeah. For a unit that he was my lieutenant, is now a colonel, colonel for a unit, and so he asked me to come speak about just what's been going on with me.
Yeah, that's cool.
And where is this?
Myrtle Beach. So there are units in Camp Lejeune, which is in North Carolina, but they go down there for the ball.
That's cool.
So yeah, flying me up, my wife and I, and
oh, they're flying you.
Yeah.
That's even cooler, yeah.
Nice. I don't know where we're staying. It's one of those resorts over there in Myrtle Beach, which is actually going to be like 80 degrees. So that's cool. I thought it was going to be kind of like a miserable.
No, you'll have a good time.
Weather, but it's supposed to be nice.
And now, are you like the only speaker, or is there like a circuit of kind of, they're going to have a couple people, or are you the main speaker?
Truth be told, I don't remember a speaker at the ball because you're just getting shit-faced. You know what I mean? I blew off half of them. I wasn't the kind of guy who would like get into my uniform and shit. But I think, the sergeant major will speak, the colonel will speak. I'm the guest of honor. Yeah. So I guess it's all kind of centered around me speaking.
Cool.
So
yeah. Are you
very
going to be in like dress
nerve-wracking.
blues?
No, I got a suit. I'll just wear a suit. There you go. I never bought my dress blues. I did 8 years in the Marine Corps. Never bought the blue suit. It just wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
Man. I didn't give a fuck.
Now, will you stand out there? Well, because the majority of the people will probably be in dress blues, right?
Yeah, but I'm not in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Right.
God.
And I got neck tattoos and hand tattoos.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick out. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's what I was thinking, but like a lot of the people are probably still in the Marine Corps that are wearing their dress blues while they're there.
No,
right?
Yeah, everyone in the Marine Corps. Yeah, I would say 80 to 90% of the people that will be in their dress blues. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you know what you're going to talk about yet? Because it's not a recovery thing. It's
right. Yeah.
It's a military thing.
That's the rub, right?
That's the hang up,
trying to figure it all out, like how to kind of, and then also talk about like killing Iranians and fucking, you know what I mean? That type of shit, and that oorah, as we say, like that motivation shit at the end. So it's
right.
But my two best friends that killed themselves that were in the Marine Corps, got to bring them up, and just kind of weave it, back and forth.
Yeah.
So 8 to 12 minutes.
That's not too bad.
No, it's not bad.
No,
it's not bad.
And you have a whole night
plenty of times, but this is a hell of a lot different. But I just keep telling myself, man, like, courage isn't about like not having fear; it's about walking through it. So it's the same shit.
Yeah, I like that.
And it'll be over in 8 to 12 minutes, man.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
it. You're done.
For a month.
You have great time, nice dinner. Enjoy some time with the wife, and
yeah,
even be able to network, with people, and you might have an inn where we could help more veterans.
Yeah, I mean, or at least, that's also the goal too.
So, just side thought question: could you wear your blues if you had them?
Yes.
It would be a
pro. Even though you're So there's like alphas.
How does that work? I'm always interested in this kind of.
Yeah, dude, and I don't know 100%.
Right,
Because I never bought them, so I don't know.
Right.
But I could. So for instance, what I was gonna have is my medals made. I could wear my medals on just my black suit that I'm wearing.
Okay,
that would be cool. Could pin them, and I have some sweet ones, but I'm not. I'm just going as me, man. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna tell a little bit of my story, but like So one of my big issues is a lot of these guys probably haven't deployed. When I was in, there was 2 wars. I deployed twice. Everyone you talk to had deployed in one shape, form.
Yeah.
Maybe not been in combat, but been over there.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not the case now. So I also don't want to talk too much about combat because
These guys don't know combat.
these guys don't know. And I think a lot of people have, as I've found in treatment and stuff, a lot of guys that haven't been to combat are feel inferior that they haven't been to combat.
I can understand that.
You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to put anyone in that spot.
Right.
Yeah,
Because the truth of the matter is, I don't give a fuck. That those of us that have really been like in shit, we don't give a fuck if you've been to combat or not. Just don't lie about it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why I hated going to the VA, because you get in there and you hear this guy, and it's just like anything that you've been through, like the streets of like Wharton Ave. Someone's been to Wharton Ave or not.
Yeah.
Am I saying it right?
Warren Street. That's all right.
Whatever,
Yeah.
Warren Street. But or someone that's been down in the Bronx.
Yeah.
Like, and if they're just telling a story. So and then you're like,
Yeah.
immediately this fraud.
I used to
You
catch
hate
people
them.
slipping all the time. When I
Yeah.
first came to Florida, I'm from New York. Oh, I'm from Queens. And I would start asking
Yeah.
questions. And then you find out they're from
Well,
like Poughkeepsie,
Philly.
Orange County.
I checked. I without
Buckstown, bro.
I checked you. You know what I mean? Like everyone says they're from Philly,
Right.
and then they're from Bucks County. You know what I mean? My family's actually from Bucks County, so
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
like. But anyway,
Now, Alex, a real Philly guy.
yeah, he is, and I love Nico too, bro. I got to get Nico.
It's great. It's the best.
But
We should get
we
Nico
breaking
on
bread
here.
with,
we will. We'll get him on here with some.
I love him,
fucking...
but he can barely speak English.
Well, I just found out too that he flies all over the place, bro, to do these food reviews.
No,
Yeah.
he doesn't
flies
fly
over to see his
or
mom.
He flies to see his mom or his friends. He does
No,
a
but I'm
review while
saying,
he's
like,
there.
he goes to like other states, I heard, and like does like food reviews. I guess he probably knows.
I mean, he goes
people
to
in that
Philly. He
area.
goes,
He goes
yeah,
to
but
Philly,
he
New York.
works his stuff, man.
Philly
He works.
and Staten Island.
He-
He knows
yeah.
people.
Hey, but he works his stuff, man.
Is
I'm-
he from Philly or is he from New York?
Yeah, no,
He's
no,
from
no.
the Philly
He's
cat,
from
right?
my neighborhood. He's a young
Yeah.
kid from my neighborhood.
He's from 6 or from 12. I
from
know the whole
6
deal.
down
bro.
to 12.
I know the
See,
whole
you're
deal.
like a half
Yeah.
Philly
He's
cat
6
now,
and I'm 12, but he's
But
young.
you just
No.
watched Father John's episode, and that's why he knows all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? He got it fresh
No,
at the
no.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I watched that episode. I watched the episode that I wasn't in. Yeah, sure.
God forbid he reposted it. Look at him. He knows what he does, bro. He
Oh,
knows what he
shit.
does.
Of course I know what I do. Half
I'm
the
doing it.
deal with the sobriety is awareness, right? Like awareness of my. But no, back to that. Yeah, like there's a lot of guys I meet in treatment and stuff that are like they feel inferior or they have like a self-esteem issue because they didn't deploy, and it's like
Right.
again back to like those of us that have been there. It's like, bro, like that admin. Here it's admissions, administrative guy.
Right.
That, hey man, that's how my paychecks get signed. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to be in Afghanistan in gunfights and like not getting paid back home. You know what I mean? My wife
Right.
worrying about money. Like that's how we that have been there really look at things. So like, but I don't want to get up on sitting up there on my podium and talking about combat. 'Cause I'm not trying to, I don't
Make
want
them
to
feel like-
I think the main goal is to hit the things like purpose, right? Like you don't have to deploy to have purpose. The Marine Corps' purpose, and and then some of the struggles that I've had, and then bring it around. So
Cool.
see how it goes.
Yeah. You gonna have your wife record it?
Somebody I hope will record it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, bro.
Have your wife do it.
But I do just want to get through it. I just
Yeah, it'll happen.
and I've wrote like 2 speeches already. Fucking then I'm like, no, fuck a speech because I'm not a speech,
Right.
And then I went to bullet points, so I got like, but then my bullet points are like 3 pages long,
Yeah.
and so. Guys, people that know me the best, and I've talked to other Marines, like, dude, just, know what you want to say, maybe hit some, but like, just share from the heart. Just like when you're speaking at a
That's all you could do. That's all you could do. The one thing about public speaking or giving a speech, it's always 3 speeches. There's the speech you prepared,
Right.
the speech you said, and then the speech you wish you said.
Oh, yeah,
So
when you leave.
so it's never going to be right.
Yeah,
you know?
when I like speak at like an anniversary night or something.
Right.
Me,
And then afterward you're like, I should have right. Right. It's
Yeah.
just how it goes. It's just how it goes.
So yeah, I'll knock it out, and then dude, I got a big week. Then I've come home Friday with my wife, and then Friday night I fly to New York for Saturday just for the day to speak at that NAMI, the state conference for NAMI, whatever, National Alliance of Mental Illness.
That's cool.
About for veterans too. I'm one of the offshoot groups that they do.
Yeah.
And so that's a real cool experience too.
So that's in New York?
That's in New York, yeah, in Albany. So I fly up there for the day. Just happened to be on the same weekend.
Right.
But that's going to be cake after fucking
Oh yeah, after this,
stand in
right?
front of these guys,
Sure.
you know.
Sure.
Yeah, big week.
So, what are the attendees like at that?
Not me.
Yeah.
I think just across the board, it's an educational
Like
conference.
industry people?
I think more, but yeah, more on the clinical side.
Okay.
You know?
Therapists,
Yeah.
or like clinical directors, stuff like that.
People I don't give a shit about.
Yeah.
Which makes it so
Yeah.
this is my next question, which makes it
Yeah.
easier to
To speak.
speak, right?
Yeah, I don't. I want to impress the Marines, dude. I want to impress. I want to leave them with
That's your
something. I want them
family,
to
yeah.
fucking, you know what
Sure.
I mean? I do. Like, and I'm gonna tell them. I want them to like me. You know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah.
want them
Sure.
to respect you. You know, these other people. I can be a little more. Well, the other thing is the NAMI thing. I can talk more about recovery. I can talk more about that stuff. You know,
Sure.
because it's all towards mental illness. So.
Did addiction affect your service, or was it after the fact?
No, I mean, good question. Like, it didn't affect me, my performance.
Right.
But in my last, I did 8 years. First 4 years was a lot of 2 deployments. And so everything was either getting ready for combat or getting my guys ready for combat or actually being in combat.
Right.
The second 4 years when I was non-deployable because of the concussions, I was only going to do those 4. I was getting out anyway because I couldn't be in the Marine Corps again, wearing the uniforms and all that bullshit and not deploying. Like I'm like, as we
You're
say,
a
like
combat
I'm not
guy.
a garrison Marine, which is like back on the base.
Yeah.
I like being out there with, getting it.
You're a
You're a
grunt.
front lines
You're a
guy,
grunt.
Yeah, and not like trying to not because of
No,
like
I
the
get
killing
it.
aspect.
Listen,
but
you're,
like,
you're
I
a
just-
grunt. You're a
yeah,
grunt.
bro.
Yeah, you
And
want to be
so-
out there.
That's what you signed
So
up
I was
for.
getting out after that 4 years, but the disease started creeping in heavy those last 4 years to where, I got in trouble. I got bust down. I lost rank. I went to treatment, PTSD and substance abuse treatment. I self-disclosed that. I failed a drug test prior, got in trouble, then self-disclosed that I had a problem.
What do you mean
So
by drop rank?
So I was a sergeant and I got busted down to corporal.
Was that from the DUI?
No. The DUI was way earlier. I lost rank for that. That was way earlier, and I fucking far surpassed that.
Yeah.
But no, I failed a drug test. I thought I had passed it. Dude, I drank so much fucking water. I had hyponatremia, bro. I was like tripping, throwing up. Like I drank so much water, and then they came and got me like a month later, and I knew I'd failed the fucking drug test.
month later?
Yeah, they send the drugs out. They send it out to like this lab. I mean, I Googled everything. I had this idea in my head. I won't share this at the Marine Corps ball. I can tell you this. I was like, I knew that FedEx came and picked up. I was gonna assault a FedEx driver
To watch us
to take
get
the
to
fucking
pee?
piss.
take yours.
I don't know, just take
take
all of
everybody.
them. Just
They're all
I just
off.
want to kick it and fucking make the bottles open. Then they can't test any of it. That was my thought. Like I didn't know where I would do it. Should I do it off base? How would I follow the guy?
Track them.
All these things are in my mind, bro. Yeah, dude, because I lost rank, I lost money, you know what I mean? I fucking embarrassment.
Yeah.
It embarrassed me in my unit. Like,
You were like, I'm not doing this again.
yeah, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, so I picked up sergeant combat meritoriously in Afghanistan in 3.5 years, which is very quick.
Yeah.
So I was very proud of being a sergeant.
Can
You know what I'm
explain
saying?
That? What would you say? Your first. What does that mean? You said you picked it up in combat.
So like I told you, I got in trouble right away
Use
in the
that
Marine
word.
Corps, bro. I got a DUI immediately at engineer school and got busted down from PFC, which is private first class, to private.
Okay.
So I was like the low man on the totem pole. And a lot of that, I was like, man, fuck the Marine Corps. You know what I mean? Like, because I would get bullied. Not bullied, but like, we call it hazed by like the...
Sure.
So
because you're the lower
I
guy.
joined at 25. So I got little 20-year-old motherfuckers
Right.
like
Sonning
talking
you.
shit to me and
Right.
shit. Yeah, sonning me, exactly. And I knew it well enough not to knock them the fuck out, but like, because I'd end up in the break. But it really wore on me, and it took my buddy, like one of the ones who took his life, like he came. It's kind of like dramatic. We were sitting outside. And I was like, I'm done with this shit. Like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I'm done.
I'm out.
We were in
Yeah.
29 Palms, California, and I had ran from everything in my life anyway. I joined the Marine Corps running, right? So, and he played like this Toby Keith song, bro, about like, that was very patriotic, and that it really kind of fired me up. And then he's like, yo, we got to do this together because we'd known each other for a little bit now. And then that was like kind of my turnaround. But anyway, I caught up when we went to Afghanistan my second time. Basically, I surpassed everybody because I picked up maybe a year and a half early sergeant on a combat meritorious board, which is like
That's what I was asking, the meritorious.
So they put your record up against other guys' records, and then they have a board and people vote on it. And I had got some like I said, some pretty good, like I got a combat V on my Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal, which is kind of hard to get, and you only get it in combat. So I got that, and so that kind of beat a lot of people out, I think. And I was a squad leader, which is like a sergeant billet, and I was the lead guy of my whole convoy. I was in lead gun truck, and so anyway, I picked up, and so I had surpassed pretty much everyone at that point, and so I took a lot of pride in that. And when I got to my next unit, the non-deployable unit, and things started going the other way, the last thing to go was my rank when I failed the drug test. And so that was like a real kick in the teeth. You know?
So do you think that being that you built up such a good, I don't know, I guess resume is the word, for lack of a better word, and then kind of had it fall apart a little bit?
Yeah.
Does that play into the fact that it didn't quite end the way it started? Does that fall into your
shame?
Not shame, but like nervousness and preparation of like when you speak at military events, I really want to do well and I want to show, because the way it ended isn't exactly the end of my story. Does that play in that, you kind of had a rough road?
No, my nervousness, because like I take it that much more serious. Yeah.
Sure.
I'll talk about it, because I think, in fact, there's a way that I want to kind of intertwine that into it, because guys that maybe got in trouble early and they made a comeback, like it's not over yet, and then you may be getting fucked with big time. Right. This chair just came apart.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you you've been getting fucked with right now, and but it's So I think that adds more to my purpose, or
Sure, you got a story, you got a message for those guys too.
But it added to my shame. That's what I thought you were gonna say. Like a lot of my shame was like that I became this piece of shit drug addict.
Right.
It started when I lost the rank. But moving, for instance, this week, I think it is very important. And here's the other thing. I know some guys in the crowd are gonna be like, oh, this dude's playing a victim, and which is fine, you know what I mean? Like they have their
you're gonna get that no matter what.
I'm not trying to reach you, bro. You know what I mean?
I'm talking to the other guys.
Right. Yeah, someone else can reach you. You know what I mean? I'm here for these guys. Yeah. Sure. So, but it's a good question. It's definitely a piece of it. But the shame, when I was in the street, when I was homeless, dude, like my thing was like let me just die. I wasn't like a suicidal guy, but when you get woken up from everyone always talks about getting woken up from an overdose. Everyone's like, fuck. Well, I definitely was like, fuck, because my daughter was young enough where she didn't have to know the junkie dad she had. All she could see is pictures and the ribbons and all that shit. Sure. And have a heroic dad. And that's the way I kind of looked at it. It was like, I felt like a real piece of shit.
How old's your daughter?
10. Just turned 10.
Just turned 10.
Yeah.
So never really didn't have to experience it, like as in a memory. Like she doesn't remember junkie dad.
And I think we've done such a good job of integrating back into the family now. My wife, I give it all to her, bro.
So here's my question. Does she know anything now?
She will. She's been going to meetings with me since we were, she was a little kid. Yeah.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah, when I moved back to New York, I would, I didn't really have anywhere to bring her, so I would go to meetings with her, and it was during COVID would hit, and we had secret meetings, you know what I mean, on the low. At this one of our Father Dave is a pastor or whatever, preacher, I forget what he is, and he would open his church up. He was in recovery, so he would open, and so I bring my daughter. So my daughter knows a lot of the people in A. That's all I knew when I moved to New York, and I finally got my shit together.
But does she understand?
No, my daughter doesn't understand anything right now.
She don't know your dad was. But when you go to meetings, how do you explain that? Or she's not even really listening.
She's not asking. Probably, she likes when people give her cookies and fucking,
How old is she?
10.
She has to know. She has to have some understanding.
She has to have some kind of understanding, right? I mean, in meetings,
I'm just no. I'm not saying it's bad. It's but because for me, my son's turning 9. He doesn't know at all, right? Not that I hide it, but I don't openly. It's
Yeah.
just not in his discussion now.
Well, he's your oldest, right? And you had already been sober 6 years
I was
before.
clean,
Yeah.
6, 7,
That's
7
the thing,
years.
bro. Is
Right.
you were
there
through
was a
that.
little.
My daughter was right in the middle of me
Right.
fully engaged in the program.
So, but that's not a bad thing.
No.
And it's not because, look, let's be real. My son's 9, right? Fortunately or unfortunately for him, he's already experienced what drug addiction can do to a person in a family.
Got it.
With his mother who's
Sure.
not in his life, overdosed in front of him. He has these
Yeah.
memories, and my son literally says like "fuck drugs."
yeah.
That's literally he said "fuck drugs,"
Yeah.
right? So maybe I'm good there, and hopefully he keeps that attitude.
Mm-hmm.
But I also got to be real. The kid's going to be a teenager,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so for me, it's like, at what point do I like bring these things into understanding? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, you might not have to.
I might not have to, but still, is it
of his mom?
Yes.
But it may make him more mad at his mom
What do you mean?
if you tell him that you stopped and you've been such a structured part of his life, and then it's like, well, dad did it, why couldn't mom?
Well, the thing is, there is already that.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not even, fortunately, he has a mother figure. Right. And, so mom isn't even really, I don't even know what mom is, what real mom is to him. And I don't think either does he, because he doesn't think about it, because he's got a mom at home. Right.
Yeah.
That's who he
Well,
is.
he brought it up. Like, you were smoking a cigar the other day. You said, like, he asked, like, what happens if we see her, right?
I asked him.
Oh, you asked him.
And he hasn't seen her in 3 years. Now,
Yeah.
when you're 8, you're talking about a kid who's 4 or 5. You don't see
Right,
8,
so
9.
virtually almost.
And literally, we were just talking about it, and I was like, well, what would you do if we ran into her? And his response was, I don't know, try to act normal, I guess. Like, I don't know, she's a stranger to me. I don't,
you don't know
it's
her.
not like, but yeah, there's probably at some point, right, where, like, it's even if he doesn't have, God willing, any issues and experimenting with drugs, like, it's just, at some point my son becomes a man who's growing into a man. He doesn't, when does he get to know that side of what, what do you...
Yeah. Well, I think, like,
Probably
as he gets older, organically like that, like something happens, or maybe one of his friends gets jammed up or something, and you be able to sit down and be like, hey, listen, like, this is what your friend's going through.
Yeah.
I went through this. You don't know me like that, but at one time, like, I was like your mom, but I just decided that you were more important, than what your mom had going on. So why would I step back into that when I had you, And he's going to look at you like, fucking, my dad's a superstar. He literally continued on this path to make sure that I was okay. Right?
Yeah, it's just an interesting
I'm
thought.
so
Very
intertwined too. It was like there was no hiding it, so might as well just leave it out in the open. Obviously, I'm not telling.
Well, and that's, but like you said too, she was kind of right. Shouldn't, but she was kind of part of the process of, she was around already. I was
and I've been working in recovery since I got sober. You also didn't do that. You know what I mean? You had another job. Like, you have, like, she hears me on the phone with people. Everyone in my life, my best friend, who she knows, like, he's in prison, like, you know what I mean? I'm like,
yeah, you know what? That's a good point. I didn't even think of that, because for the first start of my sobriety, and I worked in the world of treatment and all that, but for the majority of his life, I worked in the cigar industry, so he didn't hear those phone calls and help me.
How long were you at smoking?
7 years almost.
7?
Yeah,
He
my
was like
son's
2.
Yeah, it was like 2. It was before even
so he had no idea.
Right.
So you started working at Smoke Inn when his mom was still in the picture.
No.
So she was gone already.
She was gone. She was.
So he was really young when. So
she
left.
was gone, and she didn't. She was still around, but she didn't have custody or rights. I had all of that.
That's when you would do the like supervised visits and stuff.
I pray she gets her shit. I don't even know her.
Yeah. No. Listen. If she does, great.
Yeah.
Her son is there.
Yeah.
If she doesn't, that's okay too.
Yeah.
And honestly, in just a personal moment, that's what I told her. I said, look, here's what you can't do. You can't go in and out because that ain't fair to your kid.
And I made that decision. My wife said that, and that's when I signed up, because even though I wasn't involved and I had, signed everything over, but as far as the divorce, but when she said to me in the end of 2016, she's like, or I guess it was 2017. She said, I want to move back to New York with my family. I said, where do I sign? She said, you have to sign something. I'm like, where do I sign? Because I knew enough to not do that. Like I told you, I was hoping to die, but if I wasn't going to die, I still wasn't going to come in and out.
Yeah. And you weren't dragging them down with you. Yeah.
And but thank God my daughter was 2 and 3 years old. So she still had no clue.
Mm-hmm.
To me, going in and out is worse.
Right.
Than letting your
100%
family go and let them heal, let them go. I'm incapable, and the worst thing I could do is continue to interject myself and my insanity and building your kid up to I get to see dad, I get to see mom, and then you see mom or dad, then you don't see dad for another 3 weeks because he's. That's worse than just
that does something too.
Sure,
like the kid blames themselves. What's wrong with me?
Right.
Why doesn't my mom want to be in my life?
It always reminds me of the stuff like that. Reminds me of that the part of Blow at the end when the girl's outside with her suitcase. And I think about that. You know what I mean? And he doesn't show up now, and he went to prison. But like that, like I wasn't gonna be that, Not to mention my wife and my family were like my parent, like there was nobody allowing me to see I wasn't going to pick up my kid.
Right.
But you do see a lot of these people out here that are so sick, their sickness is, and they think that they should be a part of their kid's life.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like,
when in reality you're just hurting them.
Right.
Yeah, I never understood that, man. Like, just take a step back. Like you have a kid's life is in the palm of your hands. Why stay? Like what you did was like the most noble thing you can do, like you took yourself out of the equation. Like, yeah, this is going to hurt. I'm not going to have my kid, but if I want my kid to have a life, I got to go,
Yeah. And truth be told, it hurt until I put that next bag in me.
Sure. Of course.
And then it goes away.
Really, they were they were in the way anyway.
Right.
And because by that time I've been out of Marine Corps for almost 2 years, and I've been to treatment and Baker acted so many times. Like the writing was on the wall for me, at least. I wasn't coming back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it just, and my brother passing away, who was like my hero, even though he was a fuck up his whole life, buddy, I wasn't coming back.
Yeah.
If he was going to die, I was probably going to die too. But obviously now it was, but it wasn't, it was more, it's hard to say now if it was more because I was watching out for them or I just didn't want them in the way.
Yeah.
Because if I could get money out of them, I would,
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure. I like the way you put that, like they might have just been in the way, like you don't know if you really did it nobly or if you did it for like your own personal reasons.
Yeah. Now that's some shit that I wouldn't say in front of a bunch of Marines, right? Or because nobody can understand what we're saying as far as like how I can sit up here and talk about like my daughter, meaning nothing compared to drugs and alcohol. No one can understand that. People don't. My wife now understands it, and people that would see me now with my kid. But if you don't see me now with my kid, then I'm telling this type of shit, you're like, you would never believe it.
Right.
I was thinking something too. Go ahead.
No.
I'll ask you after.
Why'd you join the military?
I was 25. I had gone to college like 4 times.
Same college or 4 different colleges?
I went to Florida State twice on an academic scholarship. Lost that the first semester. Bright futures, I guess, 75% academic scholarship. Went to FAU twice. So yeah, 2 schools. I was 25. I was strung out on blues. And I didn't know what to do with myself. And my buddy that I joined with, his little brother was getting out of the Marine Corps. Right. And it was one of those situations like, I'll do it if you do it. And we did it.
Got it.
And we did it. And I weaned down off blues. But like, yeah, it was because as we usually are, like my dad was trying to get me to go into another branch or something. And I'm like, fuck that. Like I knew then the Marine Corps is you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I'm going to go for this, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
But I also didn't really get, so it wasn't a patriotic thing. I mean, I do love the shit out of this country.
Sure.
But it was more of I was smart enough to see that the writing was on the wall once again. I had 2 dope charges in New York City that literally I was just going to let go. And my dad, I didn't even know, had been in touch with the public defender and had sent the whatever when I signed the contract to the judge, and the judge said, "Oh, good for him."
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's
If
cool.
he's trying to change his life.
So I asked that to ask another question. Hypothetical question.
Yeah.
And you have to answer it. You can't be political and weasel out of it.
Do I seem like that kind of guy? Go ahead.
No, but it's easy to give
Yeah.
because I'm going to ask you the same question.
Just fucking with you.
Life goes your way, right?
Yeah.
By your design,
Yeah.
right? So it wasn't like, when I was a kid, I always knew I wanted to be
No.
a soldier,
I
right?
used
So
to hang up on
so
those
if
guys.
life goes your way by design, what does life look like for you right now? What are you doing? What are you doing? What did you want to be? What did you want to do?
I think that's part of the reason I joined. I didn't really have anything. I think I wanted initially I wanted to like be like a FBI guy, FBI or something like that.
Got it.
But I had already had when I like been in trouble since I was a little kid.
Right.
You know?
So even those plans are.
I don't think that was realistic.
Right.
I don't know. I have no fucking idea. I grew up in Boca, bro. I grew up in Boca around money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought I was poor, probably until I was in my, until I got out of Florida. I thought I was poor, and I was just maybe a little lower on the middle class, but I was a middle class kid.
Yeah.
But you grow up around all that money, you don't really even know. Even as
Millions,
in my 20s, like. So I didn't have a dad. I mean, my dad's great, but I didn't have a mom or dad who were going to give me a business like most of these fucking kids, and they work hard at it. But like, I really had no idea. I don't know.
How do you answer that question? Life goes your way. What does your life look like right now? What are you doing? What are you doing with your life right now?
I'd probably be a paleontologist. Honestly, I'm obsessed with history. I'm obsessed with old stuff. And I think that I learned that I liked that when I started getting high, which is kind of like funny, like I didn't grow up like, oh, I want to be a paleontologist, but I fell in love with like history, like when I got out of high school, and like started to like experiment and stuff. But yeah, if life went my way, I'd probably be in the desert somewhere with fucking little shovel and a, toothbrush, cleaning fossils and pulling shit out of the earth,
Right.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about it the other day, like what it would take for me to go back to school and do that. And I mean, I could do it, but
Sure.
it wouldn't be easy nor fun, and it would take a long fucking time.
Right.
How about you?
Right. Me, I go actually your route. Life goes my way. I'm teaching military history at West Point.
Yes.
That was my.
Yes.
Unfortunately, kind of same thing, right? Like your FBI thing.
Yeah.
I got in trouble like 3 days into turning 18.
Yeah.
By the time I tried to join, I turned 18 in 2000. We're talking now. By the time I tried to join, it's 9/11. I'm in a big city. I'm in Philadelphia. I have a record already. They're like, dude. I mean, the guys, they told me straight up.
Yeah.
Marines, Army, Reserve. They're like, listen, there's a gazillion people looking to join right now. Everybody's patriotic. If I was in like bumfuck Kansas, starving for recruits, I may be able to make something happen. There's no way.
No.
There's too many people.
Yeah,
you're on the bottom.
Yeah.
Hey, I joined in 2006. I was 25. I had 7 waivers they had to do
Right.
because, if I had tried to join before, because they were trying to bolster the Marine Corps and
Right.
had 20,000 people or some
Right.
shit like that, and we're in the middle of 2 wars.
Right.
So it was like it was easy. They were trying to take
Then they
everybody.
needed people,
I had this
right.
tattoo on my neck. I don't know if I told you the story. Like you couldn't have a tattoo above this bone right here on your
Yeah.
neck. I had 3 recruiters holding that.
Oh, you told me they were pulling your skin.
down
Remember,
these
yeah.
stars
They were
here,
pulling your skin
it down to take a
picture.
fucking Polaroid,
Yeah.
to show that there's no tattoo above the neck. Like
Yeah,
that was
that's
one
sick.
of the waivers, bro.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
That's
they were
sick.
getting, and I had a good ASVAB. My ASVAB was high as shit. I had like a 96, so they were like,
Oh,
we need this motherfucker. But yeah, like I had no shot of getting in the Marine Corps in 01
Right,
or
01,
something like
02,
that.
it was
No
crazy.
way.
Yeah.
What were you trying to join or anything?
I was trying to join.
Yeah, but
Anything.
You didn't know like
Army,
the branch
Marines,
or anything.
anybody that would take me. I
Yeah.
knew I was in a weird position because I
Yeah.
already got in trouble.
See,
and-
I was scared, man. Like when I was getting high and stuff, my dad sat me down, like my brothers and stuff, and was like, "Listen, like this is your best option right now. You're gonna die, so let's go to the Navy. You're gonna travel the world. You're
Yeah.
gonna see all this cool shit." And like the only reason I didn't go was because I was so scared of combat at the time. You're just living in fear when you're a drug addict. You know what I'm saying? So that was my whole thing. And we went to the recruiting office. I met with people. It took like the test, like the pre-test and stuff. And, I did the research and everything and passed with flying colors. I had a 6 score too. And I just couldn't get past. I remember crying at my dinner table, like with my dad, like, Dad, I'm going to die. And he's like, you're not going to fucking die. Like, you're not going to get sent to a war. You could be a barber for the Navy if you want, And that's like one of my biggest regrets was like not following through with that. Obviously, we wouldn't be sitting at this table right now. I wouldn't know you guys.
Of course. All that plays in this, if he doesn't, of course.
That's one of my biggest regrets was not doing it. And then, getting sober and everything and meeting guys like Johnny or like, my dad telling me stories of him being in Spain, like when he was in the military, like, you have if you don't go to combat, it looks good, like the military really, like you learn a bunch of shit, you get a trade, you travel the world for free, you don't make great money, but like when you get out, you get the GI Bill, right? You get a lot of, like you pretty much, they set you up if you do it the right way, right? I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. You're the only person that's been there. Well, behind the camera too,
I mean, you ain't... It depends on your job.
Yeah.
If you have any type of like combat job, they don't really set you up for shit because you can't really, that doesn't translate.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right. But
unless you
the GI Bill's cool, GI Bill's cool. The home loan, is good. But like in this day and age, like you need money, bro.
Yeah.
You need
money.
Don't
really, like, so if you don't spend $1, right?
I'm 100% disabled, bro. Yeah. So I get basically the retirement check.
Right.
And like, there's a lot of guys who try and live off that, but boy, what a fucking miserable life, bro. It's not enough. It's a great little chunk for me to like start my month off with.
Yeah.
But dude, these guys that are just trying to like fight their way to 100% disability or get their retirement, it's like, that's not enough to survive. Like,
in
and
today's day
live,
and age.
you know what I mean? Like, no.
Yeah, no. See, I wanted to go like full gusto. I was down with like,
so I don't know if I shared this.
All the classes, you were gonna do everything.
I wanted to. So for me, before you just, it was because my grandfather was a World War II veteran.
Okay, I never knew that.
World War II Battle of the Bulge veteran.
Oh.
Buried in Arlington.
That's
like
badass.
so it was like, you know what I mean, and so I was all about it. I wanted to go, like I said, I'd be to the point of teaching. Like I want to teach military, West Point officers and things like that.
That's really cool.
But that's what I wanted to do. What were we gonna say?
When I joined the Marine Corps, I had my cousin's friend, the only Marine I knew. Like South Florida, not too many people join the fucking military. And he's like, yeah, be a helicopter crew chief. And I was like, what's that? He's like, you'll learn a trade, right? He's like, and you get to be the door gunner when you're on the helo. Like that's the crew chief is the door gunner. I was like, that sounds sick,
Right.
So I go there and I'm like, not knowing shit, bro. I'm so green. And he's like, well, you know what? What they did is they saw my score. They're like, you should be a combat engineer. And I'm like, oh, what's that?
Yeah.
And they're like, and now I'm also desperate, right? Because like I said, I'm not doing well in life. I'm just like, whatever. Like, what is that? They're like, so you get to blow a lot of shit up. Okay, that's true. He was right.
Yeah.
He's like, and you'll be like, you'll be with the grunts, with an infantry guy, but you won't be like on the front line, but you'll see some cool shit. And I was like, sounds good. Blow shit up. Get to actually get down a little bit. All right, sign me up. I'll never forget. Like, and I may share this at the ball. I remember there was a place in the town I was in called Nowzad, and I have the map. I'll show you where it was. It was in the orange area, and there was like this wall that like once, because then you're kind of in the line of sight of them, so that you would always take shots when you get past that wall, you know. And I remember going up to that wall, and I'm in front of the fucking grunts, right, and infantry guys, because I'm I got the metal detector, and there's a lot of IEDs out there, and I remember getting to this like and being like, this motherfucker, like thinking back to my recruiter. Like, you'll see some shit.
Some stuff.
But you won't be in the front. I'm like, motherfucker. And I'm like, turning around. I'm like, they're 10
I'm
meters
in front
behind
of
me,
the front.
motherfucker. And it was like this,
Yeah, while you're getting
I actually saw that recruiter.
Yeah.
By the way, he'd have fucked me up. He was like a 6'4" black dude, like yoked up from Jacksonville. He'd have ate me for lunch. But like, I remember seeing him in my second deployment in the gym. Now in my second deployment, I'm a sergeant.
Yeah.
I'm leading Marines.
He's in country.
Yeah. So I'm in there, so I'm loving the Marine Corps. I eat, sleep, breathe the Marine Corps at that point. So when I saw him, I told him that story too. I said, I might have had to take a cheap shot at your knees in 2008 when I was over here
Right.
because you fucking got me, bro.
Yeah.
You fucking, and then you learn what recruiters are. They're just salesmen. They go to like the same.
Somebody's got to do that job. If you tell me what the
100.
job
Yeah.
is, I'm not taking it.
Well,
No
yeah,
way.
and they were trying to bolster up.
Yeah.
What happened? So I ended up going to 3rd Combat Engineer Battalion, 3rd CEB, which was a brand new engineer battalion, infantry battalion that had been stood up, hadn't been since I think since Vietnam. They disbanded it.
Right.
So like they needed engineers, and you have to have a high score because there's a lot of
Yeah.
you had to have a high ASVAB score because a lot of the demolition, you got to know REFs, like the what explosives do what and all that shit.
Radiuses and shit. Yeah.
So I knew exactly why he did it, bro. I was like, good sales pitch, you son of a bitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
He was laughing so loud.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so that's what and I ended up, so I think that's one thing I'll talk about too. But we'll see. 8 to 11 minutes, bro.
Yeah,
8
let's
to
just get
11
through it.
minutes.
It's easy.
I keep saying myself.
No, yeah, it's gonna be quick.
It's easy.
It'll be really quick. Oh, just back to that first question I want to ask you before I forget.
Yeah.
And it's back to the kids stuff.
Yeah.
So say your son's mom does come back into his life, right?
Yeah.
She wants to stay. Is that your
What do you mean she wants to
decision?
stay?
Like she wants to stay like around. She's not gonna come in and out, right? So say she gets clean, she lives close, and she wants to be involved in your son's life. Do you leave that decision up to your son? Right? Because your son is mom now, right? Like your wife is your son's mom. Oh, has been since he's been a little kid.
Yeah.
Do you let him make that decision? Like, hey, mom is back around, right?
Yeah.
Your biological mom.
Yeah.
She wants to be a part of your life.
Yeah.
Do you want that? Or do you want to just keep your life how it is now? Or would you make that decision like, hey, mom's coming back around? Because I think a lot of people that are watching this, are probably in similar situations.
Sure.
So and you're an educated guy.
So I let him make that decision with guidance, right?
Okay.
So no, I would not. Here's my process in that, right? My son watched her overdose, right? He was
And remembers, right?
and remembers.
Yeah.
4, maybe 3, something like that. Maybe 4, remembers, right? So she took the choice away from him in that scenario. And that's just what we do as drug addicts, right? So he had to experience this, no fault of his own, no choice of his own, right? His mother, overdosed. And that he literally went out and to her grandfather, his grandfather, and said, Mommy's dead. Like, it's what my son. So I don't want to be the one to take that choice away from him. He's old enough, right? He's 9 years old. He's an old soul for 9. I mean,
Small little kid. Yeah.
we joke, and it's not a funny joke, but we're like, my son is very self-sufficient. And, we kind of laugh. It's like, well, who knows? He might have been on his own while when I was home, out at work and he was home with his mom. But even if he did say, it would start with, FaceTime calls. That's what you can get. And we'll
My wife did with me.
we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Because you can't, first of all, you can't be like, hey, I want to do, you need to go get some time clean. And then, don't come to me and say, hey, I just got out of detox and now I want to see my son.
No.
Get some time clean.
Yeah.
Get some time
Because
clean.
you know what's going to happen. She's going to bounce when she gets
Or
high
maybe
again.
you don't, but get some time clean and then
Yeah, we can
because I'm
talk.
not going to, and then it's up to him, because I don't know what she has to offer him, right? So I have to be cautious there, right? And I don't know what her mental capacity is, right? I'm not going to shut her out of her son, but I'm going to leave the choice to him.
Has she ever had time clean?
Yes, not since having
Right.
a child.
Okay.
But also, I don't know that. I don't see a scenario at this point where even if I left it totally up to him, where he'd be like, yeah, I want to stay with mom over the weekends, especially because he's got a 3-year-old brother at home. He's not looking to, sorry. I feel for you, right? And I know you want to be in your son's life and all. If this is hypothetical, but your son's life has changed with you not in it. So you need to
Drastically.
accept the parameters of.
It's hypothetical, but it's real life.
But it
It's
is real
exactly
life.
what I went through. It's exactly what I went through, being in her shoes, right? The ex's shoes.
Sure.
Bro, like until 6 months, it was like maybe I get a FaceTime here and there.
Yeah.
But like 6 months, it was more of a every Friday, whatever. Because I was in a different state, mind you. I was in Texas. At about 10 months, now, she knows this now, but truth be told, she thought it was a year and a half. I had relapsed, but I had 10 months. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And actually went through it with my sponsor and didn't feel it was necessary because things were going well. And I actually was doing the work. He's like, you know, there's nothing changing. It caused more harm for her to not trust you. You're at 10 months, you're doing great.
Yeah.
When I relapsed, I was at 10 months. So again, when I'm 10 months again, is when I moved back to New York or up to New York. And it was the same thing. It was like, I moved up to New York. Thank God for AA, because I had an AA meeting to go to. It was like, it was November or the end of November. So it's cold, you know, I knew nobody. I would get to see my daughter once a weekend for a couple hours. And then but the thing is, I'm sure my wife, ex-wife at the time, was like just waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah.
But she understood by that point, and she wanted me to be a dad. Like she also wanted the help, number one.
Right.
And she wanted me to be there. Like that's why I owe her the world, right? Because whether we got back together or not didn't matter. It was like she was like allowed me to have that. But like sure enough, I kept doing the next right thing. So now I had a weekend with her. And I also had to, thank God I was working a good program, because there were times when my daughter, she had friends or her niece, you know, my nieces or her cousins, you know, or she wanted to go play with her cousins, and it was the day that I was supposed to have her. Right. And instead of me being like, poor me, which is usually what we'll do, right? And like, I can see, you know, like the mom doing, you know, like if you're working a program, then you understand that what's best. The girl wants to go have fun.
Let
her go have fun.
Right.
And then there, you know, that's the beauty of it, right? Then you start seeing, like, then she wants to come, you know, she's happy, and we just worked our way through till it was 50-50.
Right.
But, you know, that's a commitment in itself, and that's proof in itself that you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. Right. And so that was one of the problems that I had, because that exact scenario went the opposite way. I remember, and this is when after she overdosed and I had custody of the kid, and we were trying, you know, I was still letting her. She was getting supervised visits. I'd meet her at the park, let her go. And, you know, you're talking about a kid who's 4 or 5 years old. So
the
we
in
go
and out thing starts coming into play.
But not only that, so we go to the park, and yeah, she's kind of been in, kind of been out. He goes to see her, but so we go. I meet her at the park. I meet her over at Okahili Park up here, big, you know, and you know, he's playing. She's kind of playing with him, and he's playing on the playground, whatever, and he's like playing with other kids. He's like doing his thing, you know, and like I could see her. She comes and sits on the bench, and she's like sad and like, you know, oh, he doesn't even want to play with me. And I said, listen, you know, and exactly like you said, I said, this is what it is.
Yeah.
This is exactly what you're missing. I take him to the park. I sit on the bench, and I watch my child grow and be a child.
Have fun.
Let the kid be a kid.
Yeah, when he wants to come fuck with you play. Yeah,
you should find the happiness in being able to sit here and see your son, who you've inflicted trauma on, be able to be a normal kid. And you should just be thankful for that. Yeah. Rather than being upset that he's not playing with you and he's playing with other 5-year-olds.
That's such a good thing. I think it's because I remember having this thought of like, early I didn't deserve to have a daughter.
Right.
My daughter deserved to have a dad.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why the mentality I went into it. So like, what does dad do? You know, sits on the fucking bench and lets the kid do it. But it wasn't like that whole like poor me thing. Like, oh, why doesn't she want to be with me? Like,
because she's 5. That's why. Yeah.
And that would have been that's like addict behavior. That's like that would be the toxic shit. Right. You know,
it's about me. Right. Right.
100%.
That's self-centered bullshit.
Right. Instead of just letting the kid
Instead of letting your little kid play with other little kids, you got to play with me.
Yeah. If you never left, this is what it would have looked like.
This is what it would look like. Yeah. You're going to sit here, do nothing,
and now
read a book,
you're
play on your phone.
and you expect this kid to just give you everything when you got to, you know?
Well,
it's like flashing a candy bar in front of them and saying, no, you got to eat the broccoli.
Part of the problem is for my part of the problem, and maybe, you know, how long did you really spend away from your kid?
So, you know, I'd say it's good 2-3 years.
2-3 years.
Yeah, from like 1 to like 4.
From when she was 1
till 4. Yeah.
till 4. Okay, so maybe you can talk about this too. So she was in and out and out, and then and like even towards the end, probably the last time she's seen him, he was maybe 5. I don't even think he was 6 yet, but I would have to remind her, like, he's not 2 anymore.
Yeah.
Stop talking to him like that. He's 5. The baby voice is over. I'm sorry, but you missed that.
Yeah.
He's
And it's probably pissing him off.
not, but it's just like, yo, he's not.
Yeah, he's not a baby.
Does that resonate? You know, they're 1, all of a sudden they're 4. It's like, okay, but your only interaction was like when they were with 1, 2.
So you remember him as there too.
No,
it's a little different for a father, though.
Well,
too.
I mean, by the time from 1 until 4, like I was never there that often. So like when I moved back up there, she was in kindergarten. She was like 4.5. You know what I mean? She was in kindergarten, halfway through the year of kindergarten. So that's a huge difference between like 1.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, you're not even talking to the kid.
No, yeah, I don't know. I didn't really.
So it really like started for you at 5.
Yeah.
Kindergarten. You know, you were a little bit. Yeah, I mean, a 1-year-old, there's barely communication there, so it really.
Yeah, it's all baby voice.
And thank God for FaceTime and things like that, because my daughter knew exactly who the fuck, you know what I'm saying? And I was there for pictures when she was born and stuff. Like if you look back on her, there's no gap. There's no real gaps. You know what I mean? And FaceTime, you can't tell how fucking high I am.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So my wife was a little more like, she was more, I don't know, I can't think of the word, but she was willing to talk on FaceTime more.
Sure.
Because it couldn't hurt my daughter. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was a little bit of her like hoping that I would come back. And so like, let me keep him in her mind. You know what I mean? She never tried to replace me.
Right.
You know? That's another tough thing, right? When she had this boyfriend for a couple years, he was really good to my kid.
Right.
You know, he was really good. And he was like very, you know, and there were times when it did fucking hurt. But I would but again, like kind of like there were times when my daughter didn't want to hang out with me where it did, but I understood to not let it affect the relationship.
Right.
But I will go home and be a little, you know, upset about it.
Of course.
And the same thing with this dude is like, you know, like, does she, you know, like, I'm her fucking dad. That's, you know, you want to go to that. Like, your mind does.
Sure.
But, you know, obviously it worked out.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
now, how was that transition with the boyfriend? Like, because you came around, like, you guys got back together, like, shortly after that?
After what?
After the boyfriend? Because the boyfriend was around for like 4 years, you said, right?
No, like 2 years. But it was during COVID when, like, you know, so there were times when I would, you know, because I was traveling for work at this point and I was flying to Florida and stuff. So I would have to come back and do my whole quarantine bullshit, you know, that the communist state of New York had me do.
Right.
And
so bad.
And so there were times when I'd be there and, like, you know, they were basically living together because no one else, and I'd be like 20 feet away. I'd pull up in the house and I could see my kid. Like, how am I supposed to build a relationship with my daughter? And that you know, COVID struck 9 months, 6 months after I moved back there.
Right.
And I'm traveling already. And so, and I'm seeing my daughter. Like, that's how we were starting to build the relationship. And I see them in the house and then I'm outside. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
it fucking sucks.
That's
No,
tough.
that couldn't have been easy.
It's tough.
But again, dude, that's what this program does. Like, that's the things that AA and NA and these things, the principles give you when you're actually in it is like to understand things like that. Have nothing to do with drinking and drugging, but like, I knew it, you know, it was like, what's best, you know, like the awareness, like be aware of what's really going on here.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow, but
Yeah.
it's the right pill to swallow.
The right one.
Yeah.
It is the right, you know, it's you have to find like the gratitude, like,
Yeah.
It kills me, but thank you for being good to my daughter. Or thank you for, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, it takes a real man to be able to go shake another guy's hand and go, yo, thank you for taking care of my daughter.
Yeah, you give it a little firm handshake, though.
Yeah, sure.
He definitely got the,
yeah,
you know,
sure,
he definitely
sure,
turned
sure.
it on him.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
But like you said, it all worked out.
I will say, you know, for all the shit that technology gets, FaceTime is the greatest thing for, you know, people out of town, people with families that don't look like my kids get to like basically spend time with their relatives on FaceTime.
Yeah.
You know, just
Yeah.
No,
On
yeah, it's
screen.
been huge because like when my nieces were born, you know, I was getting high, and you know they're 10 now. I got clean shortly after, but like that's the only reason I have a relationship with them, and they
Sure.
know
They
me,
get to
bro.
see you,
And I'm their favorite person. Now
Right.
they got iPads,
And
bro.
you're not even
They got Messenger. They're messaging me,
Right.
calling me.
Right.
I've probably only seen them in person,
couple
you know,
times. Right.
12 times.
Right.
I'm their favorite uncle because of FaceTime. You know
Sure.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
Sure.
they could call me, they could vent to me, they could tell me about stuff that happened at school that they don't want to tell their parents. Like
Knowing you probably send them sweet shit too.
oh, absolutely,
probably,
bro.
yeah,
They get the
that's
coolest
so good.
shit, dude. You know
This
what I'm
is a
saying?
Yeah.
Bronchosaurus
Yeah.
bone. Or
Oh
something.
yeah. No,
That's
yeah.
how
They
you
got
call
all
it.
the coolest shit, bro. You know, and they got the best parents too. But they're it's cool in like FaceTime. You know, it's the only reason that I have a relationship with those two beautiful girls is
Sure.
because of FaceTime, man. You know. And like the first time I seen them, I was high. I remember like being high in the hospital, like holding them, and then going to treatment and being like, "Yo, they're never gonna know me." And then on the other side, you know, like my other brother struggles with like substance abuse and stuff, and his baby Ryan is my godson, and I don't have that relationship because of his dad. You know, like I can't FaceTime because they don't answer. You know, like even on his birthday, like, I didn't even. That's my godson, bro. There's no idea who I am. You know, because they don't answer the phone. I can't
Who's
talk
they?
to him. Ryan, my brother, and his wife.
They're both out there.
Yeah, for the better part of yeah. It's safe to say, you know. Yeah, sad. So I can, you know, it goes both ways. You got to answer for the FaceTime,
Absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely.
But yeah, technology does make it a lot easier, and even like you know, my parents, your family's up in Philly,
Sure.
right? Even for us,
Sure.
not even just for the kids. Like my grandparents, man.
Are your parents
FaceTime's
up there?
Changed it.
Are they still around? or something?
Yeah, no, my father's still out there, but I'm moving him down. He's my mother passed, but my father's up there.
Oh, Pop's coming down now.
Yeah, he's living by himself in New Jersey. It was
What?
you know his wife's gone. He's moving down here.
Yeah,
We
and
get
you
a
have
house.
siblings.
Yeah, I got two
Yeah, well,
sisters.
sisters,
Ralph's
yeah.
looking for people to hang out with.
Ralph.
Yeah.
Ralph.
Yeah.
My dad don't want to hang. Even my dad don't want to hang out with Ralph.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
so no, I'm gonna move him. I'm gonna move him in down here. We're gonna get a house and.
That's nice.
Where'd
Also,
you
he'll
used to
live with
go in
you.
the Jersey Shore?
I was a Wildwood guy.
Wildwood?
Wildwood, yeah.
My family's all Ocean City, bro.
But it's all right there. Wildwood, Ocean City, New Jersey.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, no, Ocean
Yeah.
City's nice. So when
Fuck Ocean City, Maryland, bro. I
Yo,
always
you
say
better
that
watch
shit.
your mouth, bro.
Nah,
That was
bro,
my
that shit's
spot
bull-
you're from
growing
New
up.
York.
Yeah, we always went Ocean
You
City.
go to like
Maryland.
LBI
My mom
or
had a
something.
So
house.
I like Ocean City though. Like when I was up there this summer, and I was up there quite a bit this summer. You know, that's when my mom passed. I was dealing that, but the kids were up there. We went to Ocean City.
I love it.
Ocean City it's a dry town, number one, so it's
Yeah, then you come across the bridge and there's like a Walmart of booze.
yeah, but it's literally Ocean. So Ocean City,
They
but
got the super liquor store.
but it's
for the
one
bridge,
of
yeah.
the like Wildwood's crazy now.
Oh my
You know,
god.
it always
yeah.
was crazy,
Yeah,
but it
but
was
it's on
even now that I'm a
steroids
parent.
now.
Yeah, it's like you know,
It's almost getting to Ocean City, but
The
like
zombie truck, bro.
But
love
Ocean
Ocean
City
City,
being a dry
man.
town is what helps it still be like
Yeah.
good family, little Mac and Mankos.
Mac,
beat,
yeah,
you know
and
what
now
I
it's
mean?
Mac and Max or whatever.
Or Manco and Mankos. That's
Manco
what I
and
said to
yeah.
my girl. I said, "What happened to Mac?"
Yeah, it was a huge fight.
It was a huge fight. I don't know. One of them went to jail for tax
I don't know.
evasion.
I don't know
Yeah, it was
that,
crazy
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
I just, man, I want to get my daughter up there. Like, I love the boardwalk, the orange juice, and the donuts in the morning. Like,
yeah.
But anyway, I always wonder, like, some people go to like Belmar, whatever. the
Yeah,
fuck.
so Wildwood was where we went as kids, but I appreciate Ocean
What was
City.
There's
the
something
ice
about
cream
doing
truck?
there's something about doing the roller coaster over the water though. You know, as
Absolutely,
bootleg as it is,
absolutely.
you know?
No. Wildwood's got a big boardwalk too. I
Yeah.
remember being a kid just riding a bike. up
Yeah,
and down the
hell yeah.
boardwalk.
Yeah, we always did Ocean City, Maryland, because my mom had like a timeshare with one of her friends. We just went there for like a week, sometimes 2 weeks. That was like
Yeah.
our thing. But like as far as like my friends,
Yeah.
Seaside Heights, you know, always. But that was like the dirty.
Yeah,
go
but
there,
then that's
get
like North Jersey
smashed.
seaside, right? That's
Yeah.
the Jersey Shore.
Jersey
and all that.
Shore,
it was the
yeah.
Jersey
Right,
Shore,
right.
yeah.
Right.
But now Wildwood, remember the ice cream truck, bro? It was like green zombie ice cream truck or something. It was a green and black ice cream truck in Wildwood, New Jersey.
No,
You don't remember that?
no. I don't even remember an ice cream truck in Wildwood, New Jersey.
Yeah, I only went twice.
like an ice
with
cream
my
parlor.
ex. My
Yeah.
ex
Every
used to do
every
that.
3 stores on the boardwalk
Yeah,
is ice
but
cream.
like, so you know, at the end of the boardwalk, right? You come.
Which end?
That's what I was.
Two ends,
just-
bro.
Yeah.
You
the
talking North
north
Wildwood, or are you
end.
talking
It
about
would be
Wildwood
the north
Crest?
end. We stayed in
Yeah.
a hotel, like probably like half a mile north of the north end. So we
When
were
you
kind
say
of little
north
off
of the,
of it.
what do you mean the north end?
Of the boardwalk. So the north side of the boardwalk, right?
North Wildwood?
Well, the boardwalk in Wildwood
Yeah.
runs north to south, right?
Yeah.
The north side of the boardwalk.
Which would be North Wildwood.
Yeah, I didn't know
It's
that
kind
it
of
was cut up.
We would consider that kind of the start of, and then the other side's Wildwood.
Like
Crest.
the end, yeah. where they have like the games and stuff towards the other end, right? Like that big section.
Yeah,
I don't
like
think
Maurice
people give a
Pier.
shit.
And
Yeah. But I can't believe you don't remember
that would be more
that
North
ice cream
Flower.
truck.
That's closer to
Like
North
I
Yeah,
said,
but
I've
the
been
ice
there
cream truck's
twice.
not on the boardwalk. Everyone's on the
No,
boardwalk.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like we stayed in a
Nah.
hotel, but there was like it was called like the zombie ice cream truck. Or
I bet
something.
he didn't
I'll
do
look it
very
up.
well.
When,
What?
I bet the
No,
ice cream
bro,
truck
it
didn't do
was
very
banging
well.
ice cream.
We're
That's
also talking
yeah,
10 years after.
yeah.
He was probably selling weed, the zombie ice cream truck. He was just too young to
Yeah.
know.
No,
He was probably selling ice cream and weed.
Yeah, no, he was definitely definitely
that was
selling weed.
before. Yeah, I'm an
I'm
80s
trying to
and
think
90s
now
guy.
how old I
normally.
was when I was there. Probably like 16,
How,
17.
what year are you 16?
2008.
Okay.
2008.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm already here. I'm already,
Clean.
well, I'm almost clean.
Almost
09,
clean.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in Afghanistan.
Yeah, he's in Afghanistan.
Yeah, it had to be
I'm
2008. Because right after high school, me and Sam broke up. Yeah, and I went there with her family. Yeah, 2008.
2008.
Yeah, shout out Samiano.
Yeah, I was 16. We were 16 in the 1900s, bro.
Yeah,
Like
literally, yeah.
We turned 16 in the 1900s.
All right. We'll end on that.
Yeah, get us out of
You
here.
know, the ice cream Wildwood truck. We can't shoot an episode where Alex sticks me up, bro. Like this Knights Templar thing is still fucking bothering me in my
What do
head.
you mean?
With the date. I didn't have a date.
Because
And
it
you were
doesn't
like,
exist.
you were like, if you don't have a date, you're not good.
Because it doesn't exist.
What, the date?
Well, you don't have one.
Yeah, well.
He
we
makes
can talk about that
arguments and then
later.
like has no source. Anyway,
Yeah.
get us out of here. Come on, we got
All right, guys. Thank you again for joining. Thanks to the camera crew, as always. Perfect. The best guys ever. Alex, thanks for filling in today. Short notice. Johnny, thanks for not traveling this week.
Yeah.
And like we say again, like, subscribe, comment. Please comment. We need something to be able to, know that we're doing a good job, a bad job. You like it, you don't like it, so we could tweak things. So, if you got something to say, comment. Please like, subscribe. It helps us out. Share as much as you can. Johnny don't, so we're gonna need you guys to do it. But yeah, we appreciate you guys following and watching our videos.
All right, cut his mic.
That's
Yeah,
it.
bye.
Bink.
Yep.
I was gonna keep going
What you
until
did on
somebody
the
said something.
intros, you got long-winded on the outro.
Yeah.